evening. My name is Rochelle Crump, and I am president of the National Women Veterans United. I'm also the founder. Tonight we're going to talk about veterans issues, and we're going to talk about the National Women Veterans United and some other information that I believe you will be interested in. And for all of you who are watching, we thank you for your continuous support and watching of CAN TV. So I'll be giving out the number for you to call in to give us some comments, answer, or some information. If you have information that you want to give about veterans benefits or veterans in general and their families, then please give us a call at that time. I want to thank our partner, our association member, Letty Butler, for on the phones tonight. Should be happy to hear from you. So again, National Women Veterans United. And there is a lot of things going on. One of the things that I want to mention is that the VA, and there's been a lot of talk about this, VA privatizing the VA services. And so hot off the press today, as a matter of fact, the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs released a press release, and it is actually talking about proposed rules for veteran community care is now open for public comment. Now, this is the time and the opportunity for veterans to start calling and start emailing and talking to legislators, at their regions in order to make sure that your voice is heard. Is very important. And there's other things that, I see that were in here that are not necessarily some for our best interests. And then, we also want to include some things that we know are pertinent to veterans health care when we talk about comprehensive health care. So they said last month, VA Secretary Wilkie announced its proposed access standards for community care and urgent care. Provisions that will take effect in June and guide when veterans can seek care to meet their needs under the Mission Act. It's called the Mission Act. And be it with VA or with community providers. Now, under the Mission Act, signed by President Trump in June of 2018, there are 6 different eligibility criteria for community care. And so they are services unavailable, residents in a state without full service VA medical facility, 40-mile legacy, grandfathered from the Choice Program, access standards, best medical interests, needing care from a VA medical service line that VA determines is not providing care that complies with VA standards for quality. So, what I'm going to ask you to do is to please go to the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs. In their media section, you will see from the Office of Public Affairs, Media Relations, you will see news releases. So again, this is just off the press today. It is going to be very important that veterans and their families start calling in. And also there is a Federal Register number, and you can get that off of the press release. Caller, are you there? We're already having calls, so this is very important, and I know it is. Caller, are you there?
Yes, and good evening.
Yeah, can you speak up a little bit?
Yes, thank you for taking the call. Got a quick question. With your survey, hello, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Just a little bit. It's very hard to hear, but I can hear you.
Okay, listen. Do you have just a rough estimate? How do you think the veterans feel about our president? Let me get out there so I can hear a response, and thanks for taking the call.
Well, you want to know how we feel about our president, how the veterans feel about him?
Yes.
Those are individual comments and feelings and emotions, and, you can only expect that people, they make comments on their own by what they see and what they feel. And, I have my own opinion. You have your own opinion. And I'm sure the lady who answered the phone may have her own opinion. That's also because she has veterans in her family. So, that's a generalized question that I really would not be able to answer. But it's a good question, He's the commander in chief, it's not about liking him. It's about what's the best interest for veterans. Is he basically talking about veterans? And that's what we're talking about. But we thank you for calling in. So we're going to continue to talk about the Veterans Community Care, which is now open for public comment. So we want veterans basically to, contact your congressperson, contact the VA to talk about healthcare issues. I gave you those criteria, services that are unavailable. Well, when you talk about services unavailable, let's talk about if they're available to everyone. They may be available, but they're not necessarily available to every single veteran that has honorably served this nation. So that, to me, is an issue. And that was one of the things that I would make comments on. And for example, let's look at dental care. How do you have comprehensive health care and not have dental care included in that package? So those are the things that we're going to be pushing for. There's a bill out right now, H.R. 96, for comprehensive care under the Title 38 Federal Code for Veteran Services. And so, there's 36 co-sponsors on there now. It's been reintroduced to this 116th Congress. It is very important for you to look that up and make sure that your congressperson has signed on. And, we continue to thank those congressmen and women who know that, it's important. It's a critical issue for veterans who take medication. It's a critical issue for those who are older veterans who need dental care and the appropriate dental care to be able to digest their food appropriately, and that's for everyone. So we want to make sure that our veterans start calling in, writing, and voicing your opinion. And if you have an opinion about it, please give us a call at 312-738-1060. Now, I printed it off, and the print is so small, they really didn't want to do this. This is what I say when you see those little bitty letters, and they don't really make them big so you can read them. You almost got to get a magnifying glass to see them. So to me, this is going to be a short period, and we all need to jump right in on this. So, and I'm looking for a deadline on here. It's going to be on the Federal Register tomorrow, February the 22nd, and the VA encourages the public to provide input on the proposed regulation by March the 25th, 2019. So this is important. And if you're not a veteran and you're watching this, please pass it on to a veteran. Please, because that veteran can pass it on to another veteran and so on down the line, so that we can have veterans to voice their opinion about the services that they need and or need to increase for them. Okay? And so, this is Black History Month. One of the things we want to talk about is, a lot of veterans, African Americans and others do not have health care. Why do they not have health care? Because there's a lot of reasons why they don't have health care. They may have stayed in the military a shorter period of time and they don't qualify necessarily. They didn't register for the, I don't like to call it the Obamacare, because basically, that's just a name that they gave it. But, for the care of people who don't have insurance. So, we want to keep pushing to make sure that everyone is insured. Insurance is very important. There's a lot of issues still with insurance policies and things like that. I have insurance, and I have to say that, the state insurance that I have, I took the higher one thinking I'd get more benefits and services out of it, and every time I use it, I get billed. So it's like they're piling up every time I go. If that's the case, I could have just won HMO, and then I wouldn't have any bill or very little bill, So I'm kind of reassessing myself as well while I'm encouraging others to do the same thing, and looking forward to going into Medicare so that the reduction can, happen. So, we have to look out and check AARP, because they're doing some amazing things for those that are eligible for Medicare. Giving information about it is very important. that you do so. And again, I can't encourage you enough to make sure you know where that DD-214 is, the Veterans Discharge Paper. It is important. So if you're watching on behalf of a veteran, then please make sure that veteran knows where their discharge paper is. Don't wait till the last minute. When something happens, you either have to go to the hospital or you have to go to the morgue, or they're trying to get you buried decently with honors from military, and they can't do it because they don't have your DD-214. So please, 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 find your DD-214. Make sure that your family members know where it is, okay? It's really, really important. Now, there is a Black History Month program that's going to be held on Sunday, February the 28th. It is the Montford Point Marine Association, and it will be held at the Women Veterans Center, where our organization is, where the home of the National Women Veterans United, our Illinois Community Military Women Veterans Center is what we call it. And so, because we are in the community, we are military women veterans, and it is a center, the only women veterans center in the state of Illinois, and we're very proud of that. We have really worked hard to make sure that all of our issues as women are being heard, and that's why it's going to be important that we contact our congresspersons to make sure that they get on that HR 96 bill, and also to give our opinion on that proposed care that's coming up. So Black History Month program, it is Sunday, February the 24th at 3 o'clock to 4:30 p.m. And the address is 7907 South Racine in Chicago. It's hosted by the Montford Point Marine Association, and it will cover African American military history and education. We actually at Montford Point have an annual scholarship that we give away. So we have 3 students that will be presenting an essay about the Montford Point Marine Association Memorial and about the museum. And many of you probably don't know that they now have a museum, and they also have a monument. And it has their bricks on there with their names and information about them. So finally that was accomplished, and kudos to the United States Marine Corps, because they were an intimate part of making sure that that monument got built. And so, you don't necessarily have people who want to go back to the history. Hey, almost all of them are passing away. There's a lot of them still living, but, they're in a very fragile stage because they are 90 years old and more, 90 older, and plus some. So, they're still living a life. Some of them are very still independent, which is a wonderful thing. And so, we want to make sure that we honor them every opportunity that we get. And if you don't know what Montford Point Marine Association is, it is a veterans organization. It's comprising of all branches of service, but it was originally intended for those who served in the U.S. Marine Corps. They were the first African American Marines during World War II. And so they have a legacy that they stand on. They were a part of the segregation. They trained in separate camps. And, they were fighting 2 wars at one time: discrimination, racism, and then fighting to serve their country. So, and they did so, and they did so honorably. So we want to continue to make them proud of their history, let them know that, we are not forgetting them like we don't forget others across the nation who have served honorably in the armed forces. So we look forward to that. Our keynote speaker for the event is going to be Ornestus Burgos, Bill Busters. He's Bill Busters. So we're happy to have him be there. He's a Marine. He's also a Purple Heart recipient, a Vietnam veteran, and we look forward to having him to be our speaker for the event. So come on out and join us Sunday, February the 24th, 3 o'clock to 4:30 p.m. at the Women Veterans Center located at 7907 South Racine. So, and also the Veterans Assistance Commission, I bring this up every month also. The Veterans Assistance Commission is charged with providing financial services and information for veterans and their families. Nearly $500,000 is budgeted every year for indigent veterans and their families. They help with rent, they help with transportation, they help with food, burial assistance, and a lot of other things. Uniforms if you have to go to work. These are all one-time instances, but a lot of times it's a short term for a person who may not necessarily be homeless, but right now, something comes up, maybe they get a new job and, they can't afford right now to buy a uniform that is required, or they start school or educational program and they can't afford to buy books. So, there's a lot that they do for veterans and their families as well. So there's a meeting coming up on February the 27th, and if you are a veteran organization, then you may qualify to be a member of the Veterans Assistance Commission. It is twofold. Part of it is a not-for-profit organization, which the whole entity is, but they're separated by a community piece to it and then the administrative piece to it that actually receives the monetary funding from the Cook County Commission. And so the not-for-profit side is the side that basically does fundraising and, they're in the community letting people know about the veteran services. So Tuesday is the veterans not-for-profit side, and we're preparing for the annual corned beef and cabbage award ceremony that they have every year. So if you're interested in that, please contact the Veterans Assistance Commission, or you can contact me at the Women Veterans Center, and I'd be happy to give you further information on it. And then they have awards also. They theme the awards now as the VACCC, which is the Veterans Assistance Cook County Commission Jim Profit Volunteer Award. And so there's application process for that. You can contact them and get it. It has to be turned in by March the 4th. And no later than March the 4th. And then the corned beef and cabbage is going to be held at the Ukrainian Cultural Center at 2247 West Chicago Avenue. So if you have any questions or call, or you want to just shout out to a veteran who's been doing some amazing things, or someone who's still serving in the armed forces, and we want to definitely salute those who are still wearing the uniform, that are still standing on the defense line for protection of this nation. So we never forget to thank them. But if you're interested in nominating someone for the award based on, something that they've done in the community, volunteer work, and that it benefits their community, veterans and their families, then by all means please contact us. And then we want to thank the Callahan Funeral Home also, because they actually are doing a veterans event this Friday. I think the registration is closed now, but definitely we want to thank them for just thinking about veterans in general, to provide information and also to give them a little social time where they can enjoy free food, raffles, and things like that. Ms. Callahan is also a veteran, so we thank him for his service and what he's doing in the community. So again, I want to go back to that press release. Make sure that you look it up. Now, the National Women Veterans United also provides a lot of services. This past month and early into the month of March, we are completing with the Women's Business Development Center a cohort program that basically is focused on what we call fempreneurs. And basically those are women who are and have the aspiration to go into business and or be an entrepreneur. So we're very proud of this first time cohort program. It's been going on now for 3 weeks. And it's coming along great. We got a nice turnout for it. More than 30 women came aboard to start the training for it. They'll get certificates at the end, and then they may qualify to go on to another level of the entrepreneurship business and get other certifications so that they can start their businesses. This is very important because a lot of women who are disabled don't necessarily really, fit in. Sometimes they don't feel that they fit in, and or they just can't handle that 9 to 5 perspective of work. And what they'd like to do is still earn a modest living, but, be able to have, self-sustaining of, how they live. So we give them a shout out and thank them for coming aboard to do this cohort program. And also Dr. Butler, who is the Associate Director at the Veterans Entity part of the Women's Business Development Center. So we're grateful for that, and we look forward to having a repeat of that program, if it's very successful at the end, because you know how you can start something, but the bottom line is look at the finish line. Let's see how many, have stayed the course and will be eligible. And it looks pretty good right now because the women are coming every week, to get the information, and they're doing their homework and etc. So we're very proud of that. And our center basically is moving forward with different things that we do. We're going to start our Zumba up again. We're going to start our dance fitness up again. Our breast cancer awareness and diabetes awareness programs, information, awareness, and prevention. It's very important that we continue to talk about breast cancer, and not just in October, which is themed as, the month that we recognize, and try to inform people about breast cancer awareness. This is a very serious illness and disease, and we want to make sure that it's on the top of, everybody's radar every day. And so, we encourage women to, do the self programs and make sure that you're getting your mammograms, appropriately, and talking with your physicians. And also the same thing with diabetes, because a lot of times people think that diabetes, which is heart, has something to do with the heart, the kidneys, and things like that. And if we don't take care of ourselves, then, we can't help our families, we can't help our children. We have to keep focusing on health, just like we need to keep focusing on financial matters, to make sure that we can sustain appropriate living, so that we don't wind up in situations that have us homeless or that have us, really in a trench where we're in need of, just general services all the time. The National Women Veterans United, is very proud of being able to assist women veterans when they have issues. They should call us. If you're a military woman veteran and you have some things going on, please call us. Call us at 872-731-2150. So, it's very important that we get our message out to let military women veterans know that we are here to help them. We have the only Women Veterans Center in the state of Illinois. Like I mentioned, we're very proud of that center. We have a kitty corner. We do our book club is getting ready to start back up again. We're very happy about that. We'll be doing some amazing things, creative art therapy, crafts, looking at webinars and learning self-development and how we can make things better for ourselves, and to make sure of all things that we are resilient, that we are caring for ourselves so that we can care for others. And we just remind you to keep checking on our elderly veterans when you don't see them for a while. I mean, just recently, I want to give a salute to Al Lowe. He was working for the Department of Veterans Affairs, the hospital, and, he passed. He's a very nice man, worked years at the VA, and then, you just, one day, the next day, a person is gone, And so, our condolences to his family and his friends. He was a very good friend also, and so, we want to keep his family in our prayers, and other veterans who may have passed. So, let's check on each other to see how we can help each other, and remember that, no veteran left behind is our motto. And so we continue to encourage each other and also to keep each other informed. That's the biggest thing we need to do, is to inform each other of different services and resources that are available in the community and veterans organizations. And, that's what CAN TV is all about. And, and this is a great tool for us to be able to contact people via the media, to make sure that they're aware of some of these things. I want to again invite you to the Black History Month program on Sunday, February the 24th at 3 o'clock. Come out and learn some more history about the first African American Marines, and find out about our scholarship, and, meet and greet with some of the veterans that will be there. Again, the location is at 7907 South Racine. My time has ended. I want to thank you for watching CAN TV, and please remember that women veterans are heroes too.